Salutations, fam. This is Dark Swing from Haltessiagaming, and in today's video, I've got a deck profile from an event that I recently played in. This is actually a re-recording because I recorded right after I came home from the event when I was like dead tired, and let's just say there were some issues with that video. It'll be on the Patreon in case anyone wants to see me flub around, but I figured I'd go ahead and re-record it for the main channel. So I played in my an OTS Extravaganza with 200 packs, and I ended up getting 12th place. Going into this event, I was kind of worried because I really only got to play like one day during the week, and it was, you know, the day of the tournament. I didn't really get to play test much going into this event. I just kind of got to figure out what list I was going to play. And ultimately, I did end up liking the list quite a lot. The thing that kind of got me was that the player that I lost to dropped and left like the next round or something like that, and that kind of just destroyed my tiebreakers. But it is also still my fault because the only reason why I lost to that player is because I misplayed. When setting up the OTK to like win the game, I summoned the Albion to the main monster zone instead of to the extra monster zone, and that clogged my zone, so I couldn't trigger Clem to summon back and like actually like finish the OTK. And so like yeah, I should have lost that one because, you know, I misplayed. But ultimately I did end up, and I think the other thing was like I had a draw. I had a draw in the last round. And I should have just scooped so I would have time to actually win the match, but it's like I tried to play it out for some odd reason. I don't know why. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hop into the deck profile. I played 60 card branded Blue Eyes because I felt it was the only deck that I could play that is both strong enough for this format, but also I know well enough to be able to play well enough to do well. There are other decks that I have available that I feel could be strong enough, but it's just, like I said, I only got to play like that day, so I felt as though like I wouldn't be able to learn one of those decks in time. So I figured let's go tried and true, try 60 card build, see how we like that. So yeah, hopping right into things, we're gonna go ahead and start with the deck profile. So I'm just gonna get this out the way. This is just me being like, you know, I'm just trying to like play with rarities and stuff. So I'm playing one copy each of Blue Eyes White Dragon, Blue Eyes Abyss, and Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Yes, it is literally just because these are the rarities. I probably would play different ratios of these cards, but it's just I only have the one Starlight Jet. So I was like, wait a minute, I could just make them all match, and so that's what I did. But yeah, it's like I didn't really mind not having the second Jet or the second Blue Eyes, because like you can just recycle and like search, and like it's not hard. Obviously I drew the cards all day, but it's actually not that bad to draw. Like it's not that bad to draw these because your goal is to get them all in rotation anyway. So if you draw one, you just discard it, and you know it's already in the grave, so you can start summoning with Sanctifier and things like that. And then obviously the Stone of Ancients to be able to like summon from deck and everything like that. I'll explain the actual combo with it later on in the video. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's kind of ridiculous. It is definitely probably the only deck that I've played in this format that genuinely feels like it does enough while being able to meet the criteria of what I feel needs to happen in order for a deck to be viable right now. But yeah, let me continue on with the deck profile. So we got our Blue Eye stuff. I'm only playing 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz because I'm not a coward. I will simply just not lose both my Albaz, and you know, it never came up. I never needed a third one. I know like a lot of lists are playing 3, but I refuse. I refuse to play 3. I will only play 2, and it'll be fine. You know how like when people are just like, oh, like it just won't happen. Well, you know, I just didn't let it happen. 2 copies Keeper of Dragon Magic. It's a 60 card list, so you need more starters. This is probably this is one of the better normal summons. 3 copies of Aluber. These are your normal summons, basically your main normal summons. So usually you might see me play 3-2, but the reason why I'm playing 3 Aluber instead of 3 Keeper is because I always am assuming that my normal summon is not going to resolve. Because people are playing like 15 to 18 hand traps in their decks right now. So it's just I assume it's going to be stopped. I assume I'm going to have to play through 2 to 3 hand traps. And it's much better for Aluber to get stopped than it is for Keeper to get stopped. Yeah. Moving on, we have the probably, I guess you could say, like your 6th normal summon. We have Quem, but usually you're special summoning Quem. You're usually not normal summoning this. It's not a dedicated normal summon, but it is like one of your normal summons. 1 Quem, 1 Cartesia. I don't want to buy a second Quem. Having a second one, it probably isn't bad, but I usually just recycle it. It's not really that big of a deal to me. 1 copy of Jalgan the Spiritualist. Well, so funnily enough, I actually use the effect to nuke the board. Because usually you're special summoning this. So like I activated this, nuked the board, and then this died. And then I triggered Jet to special, and then like set up an OTK after I cleared the board with it. Then we have the 1 copy of Tragedy and the 1 copy of the Bird. I got to do the gamer play with Mercurier, where like you activate your fusion effect. They like interact with it, and then you chain the bird to negate, and then you get to like banish the bird for Albion fusion, and then you get to like search with the bird. Very, very cool. I had like one game where I got to fuse from the grave using both of these into, I think, a Quaeritus, and then I got to trigger both of these. It was pretty great. Then we have the 1 copy of Albion. I'm commonly seeing this played at 3, which I probably don't think would probably be that bad, but it's just, I'm only playing 1. I'm basically trying to like maximize the amount of things I can fit in this deck while keeping it as minimalized as possible. And so that's why like, my ratios are very minimalistic, because I want to basically be able to have the ability to consistently play through interaction by having like multiple like engine lines, rather than just having like consistently seeing like 1 engine line, because like I want like like it just I want to be able to play through interaction. The 1 copy of Maximus. This card was not that good today because I played against a lot of Voiceless, and every time I had this card against him, I was just like, I don't really want to activate this against this matchup because I know I'm just going to get hit by Entus. And so a lot of the time I would just summon it and just like leave it there as a body, because it's 3k. Or like in a situation where it's like I need to play, I will just like summon this, activate it, and just accept that this is gonna die, right? So I'll probably like only really use this in a scenario where I just don't have anything, or if I can get Jet to the board first, Then we'll have the 1 copy of Ad Libitum. This is part of the combo. Very, very broken card. That's the monsters. Then we have our spells. As we know, Branded Fusion, the best card in the deck, Nadir Servant. So hear me out. So the reason why Nadir Servant is the best card in the deck is because the actual best card never resolves. So Nadir Servant is the best card in the deck. 3 fusion deployment, 3 copies of Branded Opening, the 1 High Spirits, the 1 Gold Sark, the 1 Foolish, the 1 Branded Red, and the 1 Poly. Yeah, we want a very heavy engine. It's a 60 card deck, so that's why I'm playing so much engine compared to what I would usually be playing. The 1 Retribution, and then 3 copies of Fusion Duplication. Now, if you have Triple Tactics Thrust, you should play it. It's much better. But Fusion Duplication is not bad to draw. A lot of times, like obviously you want Thrust, so like if you get Ash from Branded Fusion, you just set Duplication and then Branded Fusion on their turn. But a lot of times you can just draw Fusion Duplication, and like even if they don't stop you, being able to like do your normal combo and then Branded Fusion on their turn to set up an even stronger play, very, very good. One of the things as well to remember about Duplication, that it can target from either graveyard, and I actually did that a couple of times. Probably my favorite interaction was I used it to copy a super polymerization from my opponent's raid after they super poly me, and then I super poly them, and that's pretty good. And so like 40 cards of engine, so it's just 40 cards of engine, and then legitimately 20 non-engine, 20 utility cards, So we have 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Droll, 2 Talents, 2 Super Poly, Called By, 3 Imperm, 3 Skill Drain, 20 non-engine. With the way this format is, like, I don't really think you can get away with not playing non-engine in this format, because a lot of the decks do things that, like, they just do too much. And if you don't have non-engine, okay, because the thing is, a lot of decks right now don't even lose to non-engine. A lot of the times, the non-engine is just to, like, be enough to weaken the board just enough so that you can play the game to potentially win the game. Right? Like, a lot of the decks will require you to open like 2 to 3 hand traps to actually like stop them. And on that note, it's like one of the matchups that I was like, probably the matchup I was most worried about going into the event was the tower decks, because I just don't have an out, and I didn't want to like build my deck around outing towers because it's like such a small percentage of the meta, and I was just like, I just really hope I don't play against it. I did end up playing against it, and I was just like, well, I'm just going to open 3 hand traps full combo. And I opened 3 hand traps full combo both games, so I did end up winning. But it's just, you know, you got to play non-engine in this format. You got to play strong non-engine. And yeah, I wanted to play a Floodgate in the deck as well, so I chose Skill Drain. Because I just like being able to have that potential threat of, you know, you might just lose to a Floodgate, but I didn't want to like load the deck on Floodgates like usual, because I wanted to have a lot of non-engine. And so, because I was originally playing like Valor too, but I was like, okay, well, instead of Valor, we'll play Skill Drain. And yeah, I really liked the list. It performed well. It's just, next time I got to play better. That's just all there is to it. I say it like I you know, did terrible like with X3, but it's just, you know, I just didn't, you know, make top 8. Because it's like I got top 8 got 30 packs, I think. I got 12th and I got 10. I didn't, well, okay, I don't want to say I didn't pull anything, because I did pull a Dispatter. And the Dispatter basically just like gave me my entry feedback. That's really it. But the rest of it was just like supers in like bulk. But it's like, you know, I will say I do appreciate the reprints in this OTS, because like Electric Virus, Puppet Plant, Marionette Mite, like I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, moving on to the extra deck. It's different from the last list, but it's still very like standard. So Mirror Jade, Lubellion, Titaniclad, Rinbroom, Dust Dragon, Quietus, 2 Albion, Sanctifier, Dragostapelia. Supposed to be 2 Guardian Chimeras, but I was borrowing the second one. I couldn't find my second Guardian Chimera. Because you know that thing where it's like right before the event when you're like looking for cards that you're going to play, you can just never find them? Yeah, that always happens. It's like I'll be looking at the card all week right here on this desk, and then when it's time to actually get ready for the event, suddenly the card's gone, and I can't find it. But yeah, and then Mud Dragon, Garura for the Super Poly targets, and then the last card is Lilith. I had taken this card out because of the fusion lock that happens all the time, but then I realized, like, wait a minute, I'm usually not fusion lock when I summon this, because I usually summon it on the opponent's turn, so I put it back in. Let me pause the recording because my phone's about to die. Alrighty, so yeah, I had to just plug in my charger real quick, but yeah, notable exclusions. I'm not playing the armament package. The armament package. I'm not playing the what? What is the armament package? I'm not playing Tyrant Dragon. But yeah, because Tyrant Dragon I did miss like one game. Because my opponent summoned, you know, the Voiceless matchup, the monster, it goes up to I think 4100, and Abyss Dragon to boost would put it at 4400, and I'd be able to kill it. And then, you know, like in simplified game state, Tyrant Dragon just continually resetting Imperm is pretty good. I like, honestly, it's just, you know, against the towers matchup, it's just like I need big monsters. But like I said, I didn't want to like dedicate so much of my deck building to matchups that I didn't expect to see very often. So I wanted to like focus on like what I expected to see, which was like, you know, Fire King Snake Eyes. And you know, like I said, like the list wasn't like didn't perform poorly. I just gotta play better next time. Anyway, on to the side deck. We have Pankratops, This was probably the thing I spent the most amount of time thinking about in regards to like side deck choices. Ghost Spell, because the main thing, at least from my perspective, with considering whether or not to play this, was the idea was that this is the card I side in against Labyrinth. But I didn't expect to see Labyrinth that much. I figured there's only like going to be like one or two lab players at the event probably. And I don't want to, I was like, do I really want to waste a slot on like one matchup that I'm probably not even going to play? But I'm glad that I did end up deciding to play this because of two reasons. One, I did end up playing against Lab. And two, because a lot of the time when I sided this in, this was used not to like stop my opponent from playing, but to stop them from stopping me basically. Because whenever you use like Albion to like fuse or whatever, and they like try to crow the Albaz, you can bell it. Or like when you go Sanctifier effect and they try to stop like crow it, or like, you know, basically when they try to like get rid of your stuff from the grave, you can bell it, and that will allow you to make your plays go through. And then another thing was usually I will side, you know, Dogwood to have like some kind of time package. But ultimately, I decided not to play Dogwood this event. And I played Ghost Mourner because it doubles as a potential time card, but it is also just effect failure sometimes. And I liked having this because, you know, it's just an extra hand trap that I can side in whenever, because it's just always a good hand trap to have because it'll actually like stop the opponent from playing. And it was, you know, I don't actually think I ever used this in a time scenario. I actually always just used it as effect failure basically. And then the reason why I felt I was able to like not play Dogwood was because I decided to play like a more consistent time package in the Air Hummingbird and the Storm Neos, right? Because you have much more access to this because you can fusion deployment, summon this, and then gain life. And there's no RNG with Air Hummingbird as opposed to Aqua Dolphin, because Aqua Dolphin does have that chance of like burning you if they don't, you know, have anything for you to destroy. But like you can just summon this, gain life, and also you have you can access this through like Branded Fusion sometimes, because you can go Branded Fusion, send this and make like Rinbroom, and then Sanctify or summon it back, so you can like get it that way as well. Most of the time you're using deployment though. And then so there was a card that I was trying to get more copies of, so I'm playing one Soul Release and one Silent Graveyard. I would have played two Soul Release, but like nobody had Soul Release. Like I couldn't find the Soul Release, so I just was like, whatever, I'll play a Silent Graveyard. Thankfully in the matchup, I did draw the Soul Release instead of the Silent Graveyard, but it's just like Soul Release has gotten a little. We need a reprint, Konami. Reprint this card, make it a common or something. Actually, I wonder if it's in the OTS, but it's like reprint the card, please, because it's like surprisingly hard to get my hands on. 3 evenly. MVP card, MVP, best card. It's just, you know, one of the few cards that like is good into like every matchup right now. And yeah, not much else to say about it. Like it's just stupidly strong right now. And then the last card inside deck, 3 copies of D-Bear. I did want one card to be able to side in going first. This card's very good in the meta right now. Okay, it's not like crazy, but it's like good against the matchups that like. It's good against basically like everything that's being played right now that isn't Fire King Snake Eyes, right? Against Pearly, you call Exceeds. Against Ray Raptors, you call Exceeds. Against Voiceless, you call Ritual. Against like the Synchro decks, you call Synchro, obviously. And the main thing as well is like you can use this as an out to certain cards, because like I use this to out a Chaos Angel. Because I think I went like enter battle phase, activate Mirror Jade effect, and then he was like, you know, it's unaffected, right? And I was like, does it resolve it? I was like, do you have a response? And he was like, well, no. And I was like, cool, chain D barrier, call synchro. And then he was like, Chaos Angel isn't an activated effect. And I was like, D barrier doesn't say activated effects. Yeah. And so it negated the Chaos Angel. I banished it, and then I just killed him in battle phase. Because, you know, like, because basically I went into battle phase to basically play around all of the like main phase effects. But yeah, that's the end of the deck profile. here it is. I'm going to show the show like I guess the basic combo. So we're gonna go. Yeah, like there's a bunch of like combos you can do, but I have 6 minutes. So we're just gonna do a basic one. Very, very basic one. Normal Luber, get branded fusion. Normal Luber, get fusion, fusion deployment, get well, it might actually be better to do that. So like either you fusion deployment summon Cartesia, or you can go Quem opening summon Quem and get Cartesia that way. Because you can do, actually I'm gonna do this one because it's a little bit more less known, I guess. Let me zoom out. I'm gonna toss these over here. Slide that over there. Okay, so Quem's Engrave, Aluber get Branded Fusion, then you go Branded Fusion, and we're gonna send Stone of Ancients and Albaz, right? Stone of Ancients, Albaz. We're gonna summon Albion, right? And then we're gonna trigger Quem to summon back Cartesia, right? And then we're going to Albion, we're gonna fuse off these two. And we're gonna make Lubellion. Where's Lubellion? Gonna go Lubellion, we're gonna discard a card. We're gonna chain Cartesia. I'm gonna fuse these two off. We're gonna put that back, put that back. I'm gonna make Mirror Jade. And then we're gonna make Mirror Jade, and we're gonna make Dust Dragon. Gonna go Dust Dragon effect. We're gonna send the Blue Eyes White Dragon. All right. And then end phase, we summon the Blue Eyes Abyss Dragon. Gonna go Abyss Dragon. Gonna search Poly and Jet. Gonna search Polymerization. We're gonna set Branded in red. All right. And this is the basic gist of it. You basically have a double Guardian Chimera play. In the event that you have Tragedy Engrave or like Mercure or whatever, right? The idea is like you're gonna go, you're gonna make Branded in red. You can make Guardian Chimera on their turn, pop, draw 2, trigger Jet to special, and then on the follow up on the following turn, you have Poly, make another Guardian Chimera, pop 2, draw 1, search, trigger Jet to special. You have Quem to tag out into Lulu. You have you have Dust Dragon to tag out into Lulu. You have Quem to summon back, and you have Mirror Jade as well. So just, you know, that was a 2-card combo, and it like generates so much advantage, as you can see. That's not like the craziest combo, because like when you get duplication in the mix too, like it gets really stupid. Because like I said, you can just like use duplication as an extender. Because you can do this, and then on the opponent's turn, you can do things like activate it and then set up the Jowgen lock as well. Or, you know, like if you have like Nadir, you can do like the Nadir line, and yeah, that's just a lot. But anyway, this has been Darkstorian from Haltessiagaming. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and share it with your friends. And if you are interested in seeing all the videos uploaded early, along with videos that don't make it to YouTube, being part of the deck building process, getting to ask for deck building help, yada, 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 please consider subscribing to the Patreon. Thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and please go drink some water. So normally this is where I do the bit where I click my button and it doesn't work, but I can't find my button. I don't know where it went, but I'm going to try and find that for the next video. Have a wonderful day.